Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Allevo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. And brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics, helping Ohio cattle producers run more efficient cattle operations with real-time data on feed, health, and performance, all in one easy-to-use app. Well, we were going to be powered by soy biodiesel to go to Mechanicsburg for plot tours. They have been canceled for the day due to how much weather condition they had changed there. And on Tuesday, powered by soy biodiesel, we'll head to Washington Courthouse for our monthly update from Farm Credit Mid-America. Well, in a recent University of Minnesota Extension Nutrient Management podcast, 2025 Fall Fertilizer Outlook and Management Tips During Economic Uncertainty, the Extension specialist discussed in depth some ways farmers can tighten their fertilizer budgets without giving up yields. While extremely basic, one of the best ways to make sure you're applying the proper amount of fertilizer would be to do a soil test. More than ever, it's important to test your soils to see what levels of nutrients are in the soil, especially phosphorus. Now, Jeff Vetch, University of Minnesota Extension Research Supervisor at the Southern Research and Outlook Center in Waseca, said so many fields in southern Minnesota are very high in phosphorus, and yours could be too. Many fields are over the 20 parts per million in their type of soil. Further application is probably not needed, especially considering where phosphorus fertilizer prices are right now. So it's certainly time to think about. Vetch said it's probably the one fertilizer that you can save the most money on by either cutting back or not applying at all if your soil test is in the 30 parts per million range or above. Vetch also added producers could also look at their liquid fertilizer applications to see what they could cut back on. If you have been using a starter fertilizer, you would like to cut some cost, you're already broadcasting phosphorus anyway, maybe you don't need to use that liquid fertilizer, he said. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
A few lingering showers trying to pop up early across Ohio today. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at your forecast update. I don't think showers are the number one issue of your Thursday. I think the number one issue is clouds and fog. We are on the backside of most precipitation. Northbound and wraparound kind of moisture is working through. Largely that impacts us with clouds. I think the clouds will be slow to break up through the day today, so it's going to lend itself to an overall damp feel. But to be clear, with regard to new precipitation, I don't see us getting much here over the course of the next 24 hours. Clouds will break up then as we move through tomorrow, and we are in a wide open dry pattern from there forward, from tomorrow through this weekend, through next week, through the following weekend, into the following week. We don't really have any significant precipitation threat. Two fronts coming in, one next weekend, the next one probably closer to the 8th, middle of the following week. Those fronts have some moisture with them as they come through the upper Midwest and into the Great Lakes. It dies out as it moves into our neck of the woods. There's just no moisture source for it, so I think we're going to be able to get back to harvest very, very quickly. Some of you quicker than others, depending on what rain has fallen in the past 24 to 48 hours. But still, the idea is we do not have large-scale precipitation coming back at us at all here as we move from September into October. As I look at your forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Let's check in on our weekly update from the Ohio Soybean Council and your checkoff dollars at work. Here's Dusty Sonnenberg.
Joining me today is Bryn Bishop, and Bryn is a student at Wilmington College. Bryn, we want to talk about an upcoming event, the Night for Young Professionals, on Wednesday, October the 1st. You are one of the student committee members. How'd the idea come up, or what made you guys decide that this is something you wanted to do at Wilmington College?
So this is actually the third year Wilmington College is hosting it, and it wouldn't be possible without the Ohio Soybean Council and Ohio soybean farmers. And we kind of wanted to bring it to Wilmington because Ohio State had it going on, and they still do. So we wanted to bring it to ag students and for them to be able to get a headshot, a resume review, and connect with industry professionals at Wilmington.
That sounds great. Well, I know the theme is plant, pitch, and prosper. Can you tell me a little bit more about the idea behind that?
So the idea about it this year is plant like your introduction like perfecting your elevator speeches and basically your own campaign, and then pitching your own story during interviews or just in general overview, and then prosper with new opportunities. So this would just give students a little bit of background of what we're doing this year, since we're doing a few things differently this year.
So what are some of the things that students that participate will be able to take advantage of?
Earlier this year, they'll also be able to do headshots if the student needs it for an interview or a LinkedIn background. As at Wilmington College, we are all provided with a LinkedIn account and we create it. And we also will have resume reviews for potential internships or job overview. They'll be able to get their resume checked out, and then we have multiple industry professionals coming out, and we have a wide range of professionals from agricultural business to equine management and a lot of agronomy and animal science. So there's a good variety of professionals coming out that night for students to hear from.
Sounds like a great opportunity. Well, anytime you plan an event this big, it takes a team to do it. Tell me who's helping out pull this all off.
Bernadette Earhart, it wouldn't be possible without her. And Casey Kelly is the assistant professor of agriculture here at Wilmington College, and she is our boss. I work alongside Alyssa Pringle and Blaine Ferguson, who are also agricultural majors here at Wilmington College. And we worked on this for Night Young Professionals last year, and it was a good turnout. We had over 90 students there, and we're hoping to hit 100 this year. Right now we're at 88 students, so that's exciting. And it wouldn't be possible without all of their help and input, because we all just kind of go back and forth on each other and bounce ideas off. So it wouldn't be possible without them.
That sounds great. Again, we're talking about the Night for Young Professionals, jointly sponsored by the Ohio Soybean Council at Wilmington College with their Ag Department and all of us here at the Ohio AgNet and Ohio's Country Journal. My guest again has been Bryn Bishop. She is one of the student committee members. Bryn, thanks so much, and best of luck on October 1st.
Thank you.
And today's update brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff.
And thanks, Dusty. Well, the U.S. Department of Agriculture's National Ag Statistics Service is set to begin data collection efforts for the quarterly milk production survey. The information collected in the survey allows NASS to accurately measure and report conditions and trends in the U.S. milk industry over the course of a year. The survey is conducted every January, April, July, and October. It asks milk producers to provide the number of milk cows in the herd, number of cows milked, and total milk production for the first day of the month. NASS also collects information about milk consumed on the farm and the amount fed to calves. The dairy industry relies on the milk production reports to make decisions about the marketing of milk, said NASS Livestock Branch Chief Travis Averill. By participating in the survey, milk producers can ensure that NASS provides timely, accurate, and useful data that all sectors of U.S. milk industry use to make sound business decisions. To obtain an accurate measurement, NASS will survey roughly 4,500 operators across the country, and NASS will publish the data on Wednesday, October 22nd. Back with more after this.
When you're buying seed, there's more to a transaction than money. You're exchanging time and trust, hoping each decision adds up at harvest. Seed consultant sales professionals don't take that lightly. With products made to excel in the Eastern Corn Belt and agronomic knowledge that stands up to the test, we're all about the same things you are: reliability and results. Buy into a better seed experience. Visit seedconsultants.com to view our corn and soybean lineup.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals. Your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information of your beans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished Wednesday in the red, so for the week overall, it has been a negative week. Yesterday started innocently enough. There was a slight early day rally that happened after a post on the old Twitter by U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent. He was talking about the U.S. working with Argentina to maybe establish a line of credit swap and stabilize the peso in Argentina. The U.S. was ready to purchase Argentine bonds. Moreover, Bessent indicated that the U.S. was trying to work with Argentina to end that tax holiday for commodity producers that are converting the foreign exchange. But as the day went on and on and on, it was clear that nothing's going to be happening here super fast. Now, the tax holiday in Argentina was talked about earlier in the week as going through October 31st. That date may change because there was also a $7 billion max cap on what could flow, so they could hit that sooner rather than later. Overall, it does sound like the grain tax holiday is going to remain in effect until a U.S.-Argentine swap deal is finalized sometime during the month of October. And that is also raising some other questions. Farmers in particular asking why the U.S. would or should support the Argentine economy, because it's the world's largest or third largest corn and soybean exporter. And who knows what the answer to that question is, although it didn't really matter. At the end of the day, we leaked lower just on the fact that our balance sheet is not going to get any tighter. As a matter of fact, we continue to see way too much crop coming in at harvest versus the demand structure that we have. Now, speaking of demand, we did have a reported flash sale of about 101,000 metric tons of soy meal to Guatemala, about 313,000 metric tons of corn to Mexico. So again, we're still selling some stuff, just not soybeans right now. Paraná is reporting that its farmers have planted about 13% of the soybean crop as of Sunday, up 10% on the week. That's above last year's 10%. There's recent rainfall that's fallen in Paraná and southern parts of Brazil. That's improved planting conditions. That's the last thing the world market needs to hear about as we continue to look at potentially an absolutely massive South American bean crop supply coming online in just a few months. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. We'll look at the overnight figures after this.
It's the livelihood of Ohio farmers.
Planting, fertilizing, tending, and working.
Long days, short nights, cab meals, and tractor rides with the kids.
It all leads up to harvest.
Farmers are parents, siblings, children, and friends, and they're working hard to feed us all.
Give farmers plenty of room to work on the roads this harvest season.
From all of us here at the Ohio AgNet, have a safe harvest.
Here's farmer and businessman James Wood.
We farm about 3,500 acres. There's pipelines everywhere. The contractor working on my property did not have the lines located before he began work, and it resulted on a strike on a natural gas pipeline. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it could have been much worse.
Never assume the location or depth of underground lines. Always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com before you start work. A message from the Pipeline Operators for Ag Safety campaign.
Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, December corn up 1/4 cent at 424.5. March up 1/2 at 441.5. Carry it clear to May, you're up 1/2 cent at 450.75. The November beans are up 1 1/4 at $10.10 1/4. January up 1 1/4 at $10.29 3/4, and March up 1 penny at $10.45 3/4. Then we turn lower. December wheat down 1/4 cent at $5.19 1/4. March down 1/4 cent, $5.37 3/4, and September's down 1/2 cent at $5.73 1/2. In livestock, October cattle down $1.55 at yesterday's close at $234.05. December down $1.92 at $236.82. And February down $2.15 at $238.97. The October lean hogs down $1.10 at $99.42. December down $2.60 at $88.12. And February down $2.30 at $89.62. October feeder cattle down $2.50 to $359.62. November down $2.95 at $357.80. Be sure to check out our website at ohioagnet.com for the latest video, news, markets, and weather. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dale Minyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.